What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Live Games Season 1, Episode 5, The Average Man's Perspective on Football. I'm your co-host, Marcus. Joining me on the panel tonight is Herman. Say what up, Herman.
Hey, everybody.
Brian.
Welcome back.
And Mark.
Good evening.
Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to sportsintel.net. Go over to our site to get some great commentary and feedback on all sports. Go over there and check them out, sportsintel.net. Also, want to encourage you that if you like what we're doing, if you like what you see and what you're hearing, to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And after you hit the subscribe, be sure you hit the bell so you get all the notifications of any events we have and whenever we go live. So, fellas, week 1 is in the books of the NFL season 2018. What y'all think so far?
It was exciting. It was a real exciting. A little questionable. A lot of surprises going on. You could see a lot of the teams because of the lack of their starters in the preseason that they were kind of sloppy. But a lot of surprises and a lot of good football last week.
Yeah, there was definitely some sloppiness. It was like a little bit of a roller coaster of football. You know, some sloppiness, some really good games, some rookie standouts a little bit. And it's what you expect your first week of football.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you all said. A lot of the play was just a little bit of average. It hadn't really picked up that much. Did have a crazy game with the Steelers and Cleveland Brown going to a tie, but other than that, I think all in all, we happy to have football back.
The Browns just can't win. They don't lose, but they just can't win.
And then also, the other game that was a big surprise was the New Orleans Tampa Bay game. I know almost everybody on this panel picked New Orleans to win that game, but to see the way that defense got torched, I mean, it was like they weren't even on the field, as opposed to how well they played last year was really a shock.
Yeah, but that's the thing about the divisional games. Let me give a shout out to my coworker DQ. I know he's happy his Bucks won. I told him we would talk about him a little bit on the show today. So, but anytime you get those divisional games, man, anything can happen. You just never know. Nobody expected Fitzpatrick to throw 5 touchdowns. So that was crazy.
What, it was 5?
He talked about his kids wouldn't start. One of his kids wouldn't start him in fantasy, and his other son was like, "You got to start Dad." So he did wind up starting him, and I think he won his fantasy game.
Won that fantasy game.
Well, Fitz, he was 21 of 28 for 417 yards, 4 TDs.
One rushing.
One rushing.
Oh, yeah, one rushing TD. And they had 2 100-yard receivers, Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson.
Wow.
So
and Deshaun Jackson get hurt in that game, so we hope he gets back and has a speedy recovery.
So, I mean, they tore New Orleans defense up. To me, I watched it live. I think it was one of the best games of the week because I love high-scoring games. And it was just a bunch of back and forth, and I was completely surprised what Fitzpatrick was doing. But when he could do it consistently, then maybe I'll draft him on my fantasy team and he can start. But
he only gets 3 weeks.
Not if he plays like that.
if he plays like that,
I think if he puts on another performance like that, I think it's gonna be hard to put Winston back in the starting lineup. I think you have that job if he gives you 2 more weeks of that type of play.
You might be right.
So we got to bust through the fourth wall for a quick hot second. Herman, could you move over so we can see more of the camera, please? All right, now we're good. Now we're back. The fourth wall is back up again.
So from this point on, we're going to get back into last week. We're going to review the games that we had picked and just have a quick conversation about that. The games was the Eagles in Atlanta, the Packers at Chicago, the Jets at Detroit, and the Rams at the Raiders. Yours truly went 2-2 in his picks. The Eagles did take care of Atlanta. I was really disappointed in the offensive firepower that Atlanta has and how they didn't use it, especially down in the red zone. It just seems they still haven't gotten those woes taken care of yet. How'd you feel about it, Mark?
I don't know. Atlanta has all this scoring power in this offense, but they seem they can't put it together. It just doesn't come together for them. I think the defense is going to be hurting a little bit. They lost a safety, Neal. But I think that what's that?
Did they lose a linebacker also?
He lost, Deion Jones. They lost 2 for the season. So, but all in all, the defense played well enough. Like I said, I picked the Eagles to win it. I just thought that Eagles just had a little bit better coaching staff, and to me, the end of the game was just all you needed to watch was the fourth quarter when the Eagles had to put the muscles to it and drive downfield. They did it. Atlanta couldn't do it.
That was the thing, though. It was really the Eagles' defense at the end of the game that shut them down. I mean, they got down there. They had a strong opportunity. I mean, you throw it up to Julio Jones and you get it out of bounds. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but towards the end, I would give it to the Eagles defense. But when you look at the overall game, the creativity from the offensive coordinator was pretty bad. And Matt Ryan was so off. I mean, there was the one catch that Julio had that should have been a catch. They called incomplete. Ryan put the ball on his outside shoulder, and he should have kept it to the inside. If he keeps that to the inside, that's a touchdown. And then you figure they kicked, I think, 2 field goals in the first quarter.
Yes,
those should have been touchdowns. You turn those into touchdowns, and you take those missed opportunities. They would have blown the Eagles out.
And you put Nick Foles behind the 8 ball and make him have to win the game.
Exactly. Whereas the Eagles went to their run game with a jive, and he was able to score twice. And I mean, it was weird watching Atlanta their offense look so out of sync like that. And
I was surprised for them to go for that fourth and goal early in the game.
Yes, kick that field goal, get those points.
You kick the field goal.
Definitely.
Well, I fully put all the blame on Atlanta's anemic defense on the offensive coordinator, Sarkisian. Back when Shanahan was there, Kyle Shanahan, 2016, 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, they finished first in the league, 34.1 points per game. Last year, Sarkisian's first year, they dropped all the way down to 15th, 21.6 points per game. And another fact, Alabama under Nick Saban has went to 5 championships. They only lost 1. Guess who their offensive coordinator was when they lost that championship?
What?
Steve Sarkisian.
Wow.
So I think it's all on him. They definitely needed Kyle Shanahan. I guess Kyle Shanahan was the magic coordinator for them, and I'd be surprised if Steve Sarkisian, if he lasts a year, he won't be here next season.
Yeah,
they're playing like this.
Yeah, they have too many weapons. You have 2 starting quality running backs. You have Julio Jones
and the new Julio Jones that they just drafted,
the rookie, and then you got Sanu. I mean, you have 3 weapons.
I mean, you've
just too many weapons.
They've lost nothing. Like that. They've lost nothing from 2 years ago.
Exactly,
pretty much the same core players. True. And you drop that down that low, that's ridiculous. They were 1-5 in the red zone, 20%. And then another fact that they put on the broadcast that night, Matt Ryan is 1-20 when targeting Julio Jones in the end zone over the last 2 seasons.
Yes, I did remember that stat too.
That's crazy.
So maybe need to throw somebody else because I guess everybody's guarding Julio in the end zone. in the red zone.
But you would think, I mean, with Julio, you would think especially if he's 1-on-1, you just throw it up and he just gets it. You would think, but
you would think it'd be that simple. I mean, but obviously it's not. Something is off.
So we're gonna move on to the next game that we picked, was the Packers at Chicago. Now everybody on the panel got that game right, but it was a tale of 2 halves. I mean, that first half, Khalil Mack, that was his game. I mean, he was a beast. I mean, all over the place, turnovers, sacks, sent Aaron Rodgers out of the game. Everyone thought that he was going to be gone for the season, but of course, the modern technology and the miracles of medicine got him back on the field, and once he was on the field, it was another whole show. I don't even know if Khalil Mack was on the field the second half. I don't remember him calling his name the rest of that game. All I remember was Brett Favre just lighting him up. I'm sorry, not Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers just lighting him up.
Like Brett Favre.
Well, the second half, Packers changed the offense. They started doing those quick balls, got him out real quick, and that's how they nullified Khalil Mack, pretty much.
Yeah, and the line, this is what was crazy, and the analysts talked about this a little bit after the game. The line seemed like it was like, oh, we have to protect Brett Favre. We have to protect Aaron Rodgers now. And it's like they should have went into the game thinking, oh, we need to protect Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, he came out there like Superman, on one leg. And, personally, I enjoyed watching it because he's my fantasy quarterback.
I do recall getting a text from somebody thinking that their fantasy season was over.
Yeah,
So.
pretty close.
But it looked pretty bad there for a hot second.
But I'm not going to take away from Chicago's defense, though. Khalil Mack made it look like you should have gave up 4 or 5 first-round picks for that game.
Absolutely.
It was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Even though, they kind of got shut down in the second half. But, I mean, for him to go out there and perform like that, and he had no camp and wasn't really in. Who knows what
like
type
a
of
week
shape
or
he was
two
really
of
in.
practice.
Yeah.
All they had was a week.
Like
of
a week?
practice.
And
Yeah,
that dude
he
balled
came
out. So
I mean, they were pretty much
looked like geniuses, and the Raiders look like idiots.
They were pretty much calling his name like almost at the end of every play. Khalil Mack here, Khalil Mack did this. He definitely showed his worth the first half.
Yeah, he was crucial in about 3 of the turnovers with either pressure, the sack, fumble. Khalil Mack was doing it all. Green Bay, I don't know what's going to come out of with Aaron Rodgers, but Green Bay still has to find a running game. I don't think they established too much in the running game.
Well, no, I thought Jamal Williams did
okay.
decently.
Yeah,
Once Aaron Rodgers went out, they changed it up a little bit.
Yeah,
and they did start to stuff him. But when Rodgers was in the first couple series, he was running the ball. He was doing pretty decent. I was surprised.
And then you figure they were down 20-0 at the half, so
Yeah,
they kind of had to start throwing
yeah.
the ball less running.
But I think that with Rodgers in and Williams, I think showed enough that I think they're gonna establish a run game with him. And you still got Ty Montgomery too, who can come in and run the ball too.
So the next game we're going to talk about was the first of the Monday night games, which was the Jets against Detroit. 3 of the 4 panelists on here got that game picked wrong. But Mr. Parker, for some reason, I guess he's Nostradamus, decided that the Jets were going to win, and they won big and bad. I mean, Detroit looked terrible, and Sam Darnold looked fabulous. I mean, except for the first throw that he had. After that, he was spectacular. The running game, Detroit had no answer for it, and I mean, it was just a bloodbath.
But they scored twice on defense, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, their defense looked really good. That was Todd Bowles right there. You in their defense.
Clearly.
I mean,
That was definitely his stamp.
Maurice Claiborne, who was a Cowboy,
Oh, number
was
1
out
pick.
there balling out.
He was.
Did never played like that for the Cowboys. He was out there balling out. So coaching means some things, but yeah, their defense looked good. Darnold, he was very, very poised for a rookie. I was impressed. Like his demeanor, like when you watched him come off the field after he threw a touchdown, it looked like he was just ready to go back to work.
Yeah, he didn't hang his head down at all. He came right back out firing. And what I liked most about him was his quick release. His release was on point, real fast. I tell you another note on that. They made reference to the Jet secondary being New Jack City.
Yeah. Is it New Jack or New Jet City?
I think they were calling it New Jet.
New Jet City. But it's reference from the New Jack City movie.
Which some of you guys might not understand, because some of you guys who are watching this are kind of young.
But yeah, I thought the Jets would dominate with the D, and they did do that.
And their running game was good.
They were effective.
Well, Donald, he was great. He exceeded my expectations. I actually didn't know too much about him. I watched college football pretty much regularly, but so he was 16 of 21 for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then they also had Cromwell. He ran 10 attempts for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then also had Powell 12 for 60 yards. So their defense was on point last night, and the Jets pulled it out. I guess I should have went with Mark's pick. Should have picked them as well.
So the last and final game that we're going to talk about last week, and then we'll get into what's going on this week, was the Rams and the Raiders with the return of John Gruden, to the black hole. The game was really exciting in the first half. The Raiders came out blasting, got a touchdown on their first drive, a big push into the end zone with Marshawn Lynch, and everybody was on it. It was 13-13. And then I guess the Raiders decided the game was over, and the Rams didn't, because the Rams basically scored at will at the rest of the game and took them out. How were your feelings on that, Marcus?
Well, I like that game. It was sort of like old school, new school with John Gruden being an old school coach and what's it, Sean McVay being new school. I'm a big fan of Sean McVay. He used to be OC at the Redskins, so I was hoping he'd do well in St. Louis. I'm sorry, LA, and turn it around, and he did. And it's pretty much what I expected from the Rams. I think we all picked the Rams to win the West, and they definitely look like they're posed to do that this season. The Raiders, they started out real good. I was a little doubtful about the Rams. I said, the Rams better do something because the Raiders look real good starting that game out. Beast mode, like he was doing his thing, he was just pushing people around. And they would. And what's the tight end's name? I know Mark knows because he took stupid fans. Yeah, Cook. Cook looked like a Pro Bowl tight end last night, but that wasn't enough to handle the Rams offense. They were number one last season. Number one offense last season, and if they keep doing things the way they're doing them, they're going to be number one offense again this season. So, pretty much went the way I expected.
I thought that Carr just was ineffective all game. He just seemed like he was just off. His targets to Amari Cooper wasn't even enough. I think he threw to him 3 times, but he only caught one pass. I just think the Raiders got a little something to work on with their offense. Like you said, the Rams they did what we expected them to do. They looked like they finishing off from where they ended at last year. They're a fast paced team. They can score, and they got a defense that they're putting together there too. So I think the Raiders still have to work on their offense. They were missing Khalil Mack big time, as you can see.
Obviously, because I don't think I'm not 100% certain, but I don't think they got one sack on Jared Goff. So, that might not be true. That might not be true. I got to verify that. They didn't do much to stop him though, because he was pretty much lighting them up in the second half. And their offense, way too many penalties. They were getting slain almost every play. There was a flag out there. So.
Herman, how did you feel about the game?
I only watched a little bit of it. I kind of fell asleep, So, but yeah, it was interesting to watch Gruden back. It was a big deal for that defense. They can try to downplay it as much as they want, but it wasn't smart to let them go. So I think that the Raiders, they got another tough game coming up this week. They could be looking at 0-2. John Gruden's it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve for him, even though he was in the booth. It's just coaching has changed.
Who do they play this week?
I had to look that up. I can't remember. It's
the Raiders. Do they play Kansas City?
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough game.
And Mahomes was lighting it up to Tyreek Hill all game long.
Chiefs play Steelers, so no, it's not.
It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Denver then. It's Denver.
It's Denver.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was the review of last week's, and now we're going to move on and start talking real quick about the hot topic of the week. And, of course, right now the biggest thing going on in the NFL is Le'Veon Bell. And just today it was announced that the Steelers actually removed his name from the roster. So we're going to start this one off with our resident Steelers fan, Mr. Parker.
Yeah, what you got to say about that, Mark?
I mean, it's just with James Conner's play Sunday, I think that pushes more pressure on Le'Veon to get back there. And he wasn't removed from the roster; it was the depth chart. So he's been pushed down. He's not the number 2, number 3. He's just not on there. Yeah, so he's still on the roster, but not as getting any playing time. But I think the better James Conner does, the more pressure is going to put on Le'Veon to get in there. And I think, if I'm not correct, he has to be there by week 10 in order to be a free agent for next year.
Yeah.
Even if he gets in there and James Conner, does real well, they're going to reward Conner. They're not gonna pull Conner out and put Le'Veon in there. He's gonna get enough time to stay in there and see what he can do. So Le'Veon, I would say he's got to make a decision real fast. Come up with something.
in my opinion, I don't think Le'Veon cares if he stays up the statistics of a full year.
And
He
he'll
doesn't-
be a free agent.
Yeah, he's not coming back to play at that point. And right now, I think he's gonna stay where he is. I'm not gonna say he doesn't care, but the way that the linemen kind of turned on him towards the end of camp and a couple, right before the season started, I think that kind of hurt for him. You know what I mean?
And if you watch the game, when James Conner scored his first touchdown,
Yes.
guess who the first person he went to thank? It was the offensive line.
But they're the ones they said who I didn't see it. They said they celebrated more than anybody.
Yeah,
The two
they
offensive
did.
linemen
They did.
who
They did.
who kind of dogged him out. And unfortunately, like Brown said, nobody wins in a family feud. And I feel like they broke the player brotherhood.
They did.
You don't get involved in somebody else's money.
Right.
You
Exactly. That's like a cardinal rule. You just
Yeah.
don't break.
you want to be mad at the media. The media are the ones who are talking about Le'Veon, and not talking about the line.
True.
You know what I mean? It's not Le'Veon coming out and saying I'm better than the lineman. He knows that he can't do that without them. How many times has he probably bought them gifts at the end of the year for the stuff that he did during the season?
True.
So they broke a brotherhood, in my opinion. And I think at this point, I don't know that he wants to come back to run behind that line.
It's going to be tough. It'll be tough.
And
The longer he waits out, the more tough it is to come back.
And in truth, Le'Veon is the type of running back that, you don't need that to make holes whether they're there or not.
Sure.
What do you think, Marcus?
I pretty much think, who knows how this thing goes in situations like this. Of course, I think they're a better team if he was on the field. Maybe they would have actually won if he was there instead of tied the game. The whole situation is just messy.
Not with Ben throwing those picks, they wouldn't have.
Well, those 5 turnovers. Well,
Yeah.
Brown should have won that game. That's I forgot about that. So you get a +5 turnover ratio, you should win the game. So, but I always say especially running backs. The average lifespan for running back is 3 years. You take the most punishment out of anybody on the field. You got to get as much money as you possibly can while you can. So I don't really hold it against them for doing that. You got to get paid, and you got to stay healthy. And like I said, your lifespan is short. So I don't really fault him for that. Yeah. I don't fault anybody for this. It's just a bad situation. The Steelers got to do what they got to do, and he has to do what he has to do. And if he leaves the Steelers, he'll definitely get picked up right away. He won't be out there long. He won't be like Antonio Bryant. I mean, Dez Bryant. I'm sorry, Dez Bryant. He won't be like Dez Bryant. Still out there.
Who? Des Brown. Who?
Dez Bryant.
Dez Bryant.
He'll get picked up right away. So
All right, so that was the hot topic for the week. That was real nice, guys. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start talking about the picks of this week. So we picked the top 5 games coming up, and we're going to make our predictions. Again, I'm 2-2 for the record right now. Mark is
3-1.
I got them all.
I'm 3-1.
So I'm down right now. So I gotta make some hay.
Who did you pick? Who'd you pick that lost? I know you picked the.
I picked against the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't think that the Jets were going to do what they do, so I picked Detroit.
Okay.
All right, so the first game we're going to talk about is the Bengals versus the Ravens, which is the Thursday night game. It's a division game, rivalry game, tough game. They are playing at the Bengals stadium. So I'm gonna pass it to Herman first to get his prediction.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Divisional game, kind of a toss-up. Both the teams look pretty good week 1, but I'm gonna give it to the home team. For some reason, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Ravens right now, even though they kind of showed out, but they were playing
The Bills.
Buffalo. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Marcus.
That's a hard one for me. It's a division game. Yeah, both of them won last week. I think they're going to show out. I guess I'll just go ahead and go with the Ravens. I don't have a real good reason for doing it, but they looked pretty good last week. I don't have much faith in them, but I don't have much faith in the Bengals either. So I just take the Ravens.
And Mr. Parker.
Divisional game. It's going to be tough. I'm I'm going to say the Ravens in this one. It's playing good play last week. Thinking the Bills really struggled with their quarterback last week. I think Ravens have enough defense and power to get past the Bengals. So I'm taking Ravens.
I'm going to agree with Herman on this one, and I'm also going to go with the Bengals. Again, like everyone has said, divisional game, tough game, but the Bengals are at home. And, I mean, the Bengals played a tough game against the Colts last week. Had to find some grit, had to find some defense to make some plays to win that game. The Ravens game really was out of hand, I mean, at the second end of the half. So I'm not sure how well they're going to grasp that. Not to mention the little revenge factor. I don't know if that's still in the team's head from the loss they got last year, which knocked them out of the playoffs. So, I mean, it is like a more of a pick'em game, but right now I'm going to go with the Bengals. So the next game we're going to pick is another divisional game. This is the Sunday night game. This is the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Football Giants. And we're going to do first time with Marcus.
That's also a difficult one. Where's this game at? This game is in Dallas or New York?
Texas Stadium.
AT&T.
AT&T.
Okay, so I don't know. The Cowboys, the offense looked almost as bad as the Atlanta Falcons offense last week. Looked very anemic. The Giants, they still Odell. He got 100 yards. Eli got on the ball. I think Saquon had he had 100 total yards, not 100 yards rushing, and they still couldn't win. So I don't know what the problem is there. So I'm just going to pick the home team and take the Cowboys. I picked them to win the NFC East, so I'm going to go ahead and ride with them.
Herman.
Yeah, I had to think about this game for a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cowboys and not just a homer pick. I can't pick against my Cowboys, in all honesty, but I looked at the defense for our team, for the Cowboys last week. We sacked Cam, I think, 3 or 4 times. The defense looked really good. They kept the Cowboys in the game, and it's harder to rush Cam than it is to rush Eli. Eli's going to be there in the pocket. Cam's not always going to be there in the pocket. So I expect the defense to get a couple more turnovers, get some more sacks. And I think the offense is going to come alive this week. I think that they're going to run the ball. You have to run the ball with Elliott. The team is set up to run the football. So they're going to run the football with Zeke, play action, and I think you'll see the offense come alive a little bit more. They'll look better than they did against the Panthers. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
They better do some play action because they did not do any last week.
Yeah, they did.
Mark.
Tough one again this week. I'm going to have to go with the home team, Cowboys. That, to me, last week just seemed to hang on the ball a little bit longer. I think Giants going to have problems going to Texas and beating them. So I'm going to definitely have to say Cowboys.
So this game, of course, I'm with Herman, and it kind of goes to my heart, but I tried to evaluate it. Down to it again, I'm going with the Cowboys. It was a tough game last year. The Panthers were a playoff division, and the Giants also played the Jaguars last year. Both of those fronts are phenomenal. So I understand why the offenses were kind of stagnant. Dak was off possibly from not playing as much in the playoff in the preseason and having new weapons on the offense without Dez, without Jason Witten, just to change the dynamics. But like Herman said, we need to run the ball. The offensive line needs to do their job, run the ball. The defense, like Herman was saying, also, I think we'll get more pressure on Eli than we could with Carolina's quarterback because he always had the option of running, and he did run all over the Cowboys in the first half. They kind of settled down, got themselves together. Dallas had opportunities in that game. They just couldn't take advantage of them offensively. And the Giants are good. Saquon was really good. He had one really big run, which helped pad his stats. And then, of course, it's real hard to stop OBJ. So that makes us a little nervous. But I picked Dallas 27-24. So you like that? I try to do something a little special for you, Mark. All right, so the next game we're going to talk about are the Bears and the Seahawks. The Bears and the Seahawks, Marcus, what do you think?
Well, I admit that game they had, I think it was against Green Bay. The first half, the offense looked on point. Trubisky looked like he was a decent quarterback. They were moving the ball up and down the field. second half just totally the wheels fall off the wagon. You know, I'm not a big fan of the Bears right now.
Even with Khalil Mack?
Well, you know, Khalil Mack can't win the games all by himself. You know, he'll put pressure on Seattle, and you know, I guess their offensive line would look like the same it was last year. Not much. Seems like Russell Wilson was doing a lot of running for his life in that game against Denver, so that may have an effect on the game. I anticipate Russell Wilson will be doing a lot of scrambling with Khalil Mack back there, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Seattle. I think they'll pull it out, and like I just don't have much faith in Trubisky in the Bears. I don't see what they see in Trubisky, and you know, if we're gonna go quarterback by quarterback match, then you know, the Seattle hands down. You know, Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, so Mr. Trubisky is a nobody. So I'm picking the Seahawks.
Out of last week, out of the 7 new coaches last week, all of them lost their first game of the season.
0-7.
I'm gonna go out and say Nagy gets his first one. I'm gonna say the Bears are gonna win this one. I like his creativity he had in the first half with Trubisky. I thought that was a new design, new options for him. Seattle doesn't have enough defense. I think that'll be able to take him. I'm gonna take the Bears, and Nagy gets his first win. Being a new coach.
You agree, Herman?
No, actually I don't. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, and I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what Marcus said. You got Russell Wilson versus Trubisky, and Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But it's not just that. All you heard during the offseason was the coaches wanted to let Trubisky air it out, blah, blah, blah. He's a young quarterback who's got a lot to learn. You have 2 good running backs if you use them properly. You got 2 good running backs. You need to lean on those running backs. Let Trubisky make the plays that he can make. But you don't want to just let this dude air it out. And I think that's what's going to get them in trouble in most of their games. The defense will keep them in it, but Trubisky is going to turn it over enough so I think they're going to go over. You know, they're going to go. I think Seattle's going to win.
So I'm going to take the last one, and I'm going to also agree with Mr. Parker on this one. I'm going with the Chicago Bears. I didn't like Seattle's offense last week. Although the Broncos have a good defense, it just seems like Russell Wilson, like Marcus was saying, is out there running for his life, trying to make plays, and that's just not sustainable. The offense that they're running is not working. They're not running the ball very well. I think, like Herman said, if Chicago runs the ball, lets Trubisky do a little play action, little things here and there, you know, get up on top of Seattle. I think they have a good chance of winning this game. And Doug Baldwin got injured. So I don't know what his status is. If he's not playing, it's even worse for Seattle. So I'm going to take the Bears at home. The next game we're going to talk about is an AFC game. We're going to go with the Jaguars and the Patriots. AFC Championship game from last year. So since Mark is our resident AFC fanatic, we'll start with him.
Tom Brady fanatic. Not AFC, Tom Brady.
He said Mark, not you.
Oh, Mark. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
But since you jumped in, Marcus, just go ahead.
Sorry, Marcus.
You know, I don't pick against Tom Brady ever. You know, he looked great. You know, he looked great again last week. Even though he got a bunch of not star guys on the team on the offense, except for Gronk, of course. He still managed to pull it out every week, move that ball on the field and put up the points. And is this game in New England or is it in? It's probably in Jacksonville.
This game is in Jacksonville. Okay,
well, it doesn't matter. It's Tom Brady and it's Bill Belichick. I will never pick against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, so I'm taking the Patriots. I'm gonna say I think it'll be a low scoring game though. I'm gonna say something like 15-10.
You saying Tom Brady's only going to score what?
15.
How do you going to get 15? What's he going to do to get 15?
Make it
What,
17.
touchdown?
Whatever. Do the math. Whatever it adds up to. It's gonna be a low scoring game. It's gonna be a low scoring game.
Safety,
Stay off the school.
It'll be a safety in there. Safety in there somewhere.
much like the AFC Championship game, it was a pretty low scoring game. 2 tough defenses. I have to agree with you, Marcus. I think you can't go against Tom Brady. When in doubt, you got to take Brady over a lot of the teams in the NFL because of Brady. I think they Patriots just signed a wide receiver, Corey Coleman. I don't know if he's gonna get that much play, but I think they're gonna win the game.
Was he from Cleveland?
Cleveland, and they signed him in Buffalo for short time, real short time.
Is that the guy they let go on? They actually be traded or something on in
Yes,
Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks.
Is that guy?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Triplett, you're up.
Well, this is an interesting thing. So when Jalen Ramsey was doing all that talk about quarterbacks, right? Did he say anything about Tom Brady? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
You know he better not.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Patriots.
You said he better don't, Marcus.
Right.
Better
It's
don't.
hard to pick against the Patriots during, it's just hard to pick against the Patriots. Not to take anything away from Jacksonville, their defense is good. In my opinion, their quarterback's not. But that's a whole nother story. I'm not buying Blake Bortles.
He's been good in fantasy. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, whatever. But when you put Tom Brady against, Blake Bortles, you don't pick against Tom Brady. Patriots will win this one. I'm not giving any scores, but it won't be 15-10.
So we're all in agreement on this particular one. I'm also going with the Patriots, partly because of Leonard Fournette's questionable hamstring.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
We heard it in the game last week. He says that he's going to play this week, but hamstrings are a tough thing to come back from, and they can always flare back up later on. So with the doubt in that, and again, I mean, like Herman said, Blake Bortles, Tom Brady, So, I mean, I got to go with Tom. That defense and the Jags are good, but I think that they'll be on the field too long, and eventually Brady will wear them out and take that victory. And I'm with Herman, too. I don't think it's going to be no 15. I think it'll be like 21, 24. So.
I'm just throwing numbers out there, man. You threw me off when you threw numbers out there. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
So the last game we're going to talk about is the Packers versus the Vikings. This is the NFC North battle. The Packers and the Vikings both won last week in pretty good fashion. So we're going to start off this one with Herman.
Well, I'm going with the Packers. It's a home game for the Packers. They're hard to beat at home. Even though I picked Minnesota to win the division, I'm going to say that the Packers are going to take this one at home. If Aaron Rodgers plays. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, that's a whole different story.
We'll have another one right before game time. Change that pick.
But no, I'm going to go with the Packers. Home team. Aaron Rodgers is almost like you can't pick against him either. You know what I mean? He beat the Bears as good as their defense was on one leg. So if he's anywhere as healthy as he is or a little bit better, and they run the ball a little bit, as good as Minnesota's defense is and their offense, I think this is going to be a great game, though. I'm surprised they didn't put this as a primetime game. It's probably like the NFC game of the week, but I'm shocked this isn't a primetime game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going with the Packers.
What you got, Mark?
I think everything really lies on whether Aaron Rodgers plays or not. But even with that, I'm gonna have to go with the Vikings. I think their defense, my team is gonna build off the momentum from last week's win. I think Packers is just too beat up right now with Rodgers. I'm gonna have to take Vikings.
Marcus, what are your aspects on the game?
Pretty much like Herman said, if Aaron Rodgers plays, if he doesn't play, well then it's Minnesota all day long. But since I picked the Packers to win the NFC North, and it's getting to be like I might have to start regarding Aaron Rodgers like I regard Tom Brady. You just can't pick against him. I mean, what he did last week in that game was amazing. He came out there on one leg and just threw that ball around. That one catch he threw to the wide receiver, I don't know his name, but you know what catch I'm talking about. The one for the center.
Allison.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think only he could have pulled that off.
It was amazing.
And
have they reported anything lately on Rodgers yet?
It's just uncertainty there.
Uncertainty
there right now. Yeah.
So
I mean, that's just game. They're not gonna give their hand up right now. They're gonna make the Vikings worry about that the whole time. So
it's going to depend on the swelling of the knee and all that. They said that I think they did say no type of structural damage or anything.
But yeah, we'll wait to swelling go down.
So if I agree with Herman, it's going to be a great game. So I'm about to pick the Packers on that.
For the Patriots.
What'd you say?
I said I picked the Packers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we got 2 for the Packers, 1 for the Vikings. So I'm going to even that up, and I'm going with Mr. Parker and the Vikings. You guys don't seem to recall that, the Vikings do have that antidote for that man, that bad man that y'all like to talk about all the time when he's healthy. So if he can lay, I feel like that defense, not to mention that quarter of the Redskins who can score with the Packers. But I don't know if the Packers can score with the Vikings the way that defense plays. So they're even though they're at home, it's not cold yet. Even though both these teams play in the cold. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings. Our weekly picks. Now we're gonna turn it over to give us a little fantasy advice for the week.
So I'm sure a couple of you out there may have had Delaney Walker or Greg Olsen.
I had Olsen.
You had Olsen, and I hadn't had years, and I knew he was good, but he dislocated his ankle. He's out for the season. And Greg Olsen, he's up in the air because he broke his foot.
The same one he had.
Surgery on. And they're saying they're holding off on surgery. They're just going to reevaluate him.
To rehab,
like monthly.
Rehabilitated. So
yeah. So if you're looking for a tight end out there, there's a couple you can pick up. Disley for Seattle had some pretty decent numbers this past week. Ben Watson for New Orleans. Disley had 23 in my league, the way it's set up. He had 105 receiving yards and a touchdown. Let's see. Ben Watson for New Orleans. I forget what he had. I didn't get his numbers. But Jared Cook from the Raiders. I'm pretty sure you saw that. And Eric Ebron from the Colts. He used to be with Detroit.
Yeah.
And he moved over to the Colts. The reason I actually wound up picking him up because somebody on the panel beat me out for Jared Cook. But Ebron, the Colts have a thin wide receiving core.
They do.
So they're going to rely on that tight end. So if you're looking for tight ends, you got Disley from Seattle again, Watson from New Orleans, Cooks from the Raiders, and Ebron from the Colts.
all right. So thank you for that fantasy advice, Mr. Triplet. So this is going to end another season or another episode of Delay a Game. Marcus, we're going to let us go. He has a few announcements before we roll.
Once again, I want to encourage y'all, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and share. It can really help us out a lot, spread the word about the Delay of Game, get us out there. Also want to encourage you also to head over to sportsintel.net, get some great commentary and opinions about sports, today's sports. And other than that, we came to you early this week because of some scheduling conflicts. We came on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, but next week we'll be back on our regular schedule on Wednesdays. So hope you enjoy week 1 of the NFL season, and let's get ready for week 2. And we out. Peace.
I didn't see it fall.
I was